Good morning, everybody. I'm Sean Cecil, and I'm going to be talking with you guys today about the 3 questions you should ask yourself to know if you're in a good spot career-wise, right? So we're talking about setting career standards here, right? So a lot of people, they don't understand this. They don't understand, what is a good career. They settle for something that they shouldn't be settling for, right? They say, oh, well, I can pay my bills and I don't want to shoot myself. So I guess, my job's not too miserable, right? And ultimately what's driving that settling is fear of change, right? Naturally, the human mind is wired to resist change to some extent. And so people get trapped in really crappy environments. And so it all starts, I'm big on this commitment to truth, right? Of being honest with yourself and with other people, but especially with yourself, right? And what that means is it starts with getting honest. Like, hey, listen, am I in a good place or not, right? You don't want to just, numb yourself to the pain, right? If something's going wrong or if the situation isn't ideal, right? So right now, let's just take a look at the 3 questions, right? So the first question that you should ask yourself is my current career path putting me on track to meet my financial goals? That's the first question. Are you on track to meet your financial goals, right? Now, a lot of people they don't do very well when it comes to setting financial goals because they set very low goals. They believe that they're unworthy or incapable or that they don't deserve. They bought into these BS limiting beliefs from maybe parents who are really harsh or getting bullied in school or society or any of this crap, right? So let's take a look at some of that. Paying your bills and not getting evicted is not a good financial goal. Right? Nobody gets excited like, oh man, I'm not going to be evicted tomorrow. It's more of a, oh, thank God that I managed to pay that bill. That's not a high energy. That's not an enthusiastic energy, right? So let's take a look at some good goals. One is if you're in a lot of debt, paying off all that debt, great, right? I've talked to people who are hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, normally student debt. And to pay that all off, especially, within a short period of time, that's a great goal. Saving for retirement, putting together a bunch of money so that you'll be well taken care of. That's a decent goal. There's nothing wrong with it. I personally have no intention of retiring because if you're doing this whole career thing properly, right? Like I love what I do. So I would get bored if I retired. So if you're really, really, really knocking the whole career thing out of the park, then you don't even need to retire. But if you're in a position where you're like, hey, listen, I want to go and spend 20 years at the end of my life, like lounging on the beach, then yeah, saving for retirement's an okay goal. An ambitious goal may be something like buying a house, right? So you're like, oh man, I've got my eye on this wonderful house in this great neighborhood, and I want to buy that. And ideally, I want to put down as much as I can so that I have a small mortgage and maybe even just pay cash for the whole thing, right? That's a great goal. So those are the kinds of goals you should be thinking of, not just, scraping by and paying your bills. Okay, second question that you need to ask yourself, and this one's just as important as the first question, if not more important. Second question, does this job make you happy? Okay, the second question. Now, here's the thing. That is not, is this job tolerable? It's, does this job make you happy? There's a big difference there. There's a huge difference. So if you go look at the polls, right, they have people who go and they ask these questions. So I think it's 85% of people do not like their jobs, which means only 15% of people actually enjoy what they do. If you are not in that 15%, then you are not in a good career position, right? And I think it's like 67%, they're disconnected from their jobs. They don't really care. It's just like work that they do. And then 18% like just actively like hate their jobs. Like they're like stealing staplers and sabotaging things and like all kinds of stuff. Right, you'd be surprised how angry people are, but that's why you should not be in that position. So obviously people, most people know that if they hate their jobs and they're like actively, sabotaging stuff or lying to their boss or whatever, that's not a good position. But all those people in the middle, that 60 something percent of people, those people, they're like, oh well, it's tolerable. That is not a good goal, right? A good goal is being in that 15% who's actually happy about what they do, right? Now, the third question you need to ask yourself, because you think, well, okay, well, if you're happy and if you're making enough money to hit your financial goals, then that's good, right? And that's true, but there is one last caveat that we need to check. And that is this sustainable? Is this sustainable? Now, so like if you're an employee, right, as if you're on promotion track, then you're probably not going to get fired. If you're not on promotion track, it's kind of dicey, right? And if you've gotten some kind of formal warning about your job performance, then obviously you're in trouble, right? So when we talk about sustainability, that's the kind of thing. It was like, if the gravy train is good right now, but it's not going to last another year, then you need to do something, right? I've talked to people who are making good money, who are like, yeah, I don't have to work that hard. I'm making good money, but my boss and I really don't get along, and I'm not sure whether I'm going to have a job in 6 months. Well, like obviously you need to do something to fix that. If you're an entrepreneur or a freelancer, to determine whether what you're doing is sustainable, the question is, do you have a pipeline, right? And a pipeline is a reliable system and strategy to get new customers, new clients, or new leads to speak to, right, who you're capable of converting through a good sales conversation, to actually have that, so like if all of your clients were to just disappear tomorrow, would you be able to revive that business? Would you be able to bring new people in the door? Because I know a lot of freelancers and entrepreneurs are like, oh yeah, no, I've got like 1 or 2 clients. And listen, this used to be me many years ago when I was freelancing initially, right? They're like, oh yeah, I've got like 1 or 2 clients, and they basically, they pay me all that I need and life is good, right? And again, like when I was in that position, life was good for me too. I liked what I did. It wasn't a lot of work. I was making great money. That said, I wasn't following my purpose, which is a whole nother barrel of monkeys, and that kind of ate at me. But a lot of people, they'll be in that position and they'll say, well, making good money, I've got, work isn't too hard, life is generally good. But the thing is, if you've got, 1 client, and then for whatever reason that client decides they don't want to work with you anymore, or you finish the project or whatever, well, then what do you do? Right? Like you have to have a way of getting new clients and having a pipeline, or there's nothing sustainable there. So guys, I'm just going to go over those 3 questions again for you, right? 1, are you on track to meet your financial goals, right? And those should be more ambitious than most people make them. 2, right? Are you happy? Are you in that 15% of people who actually enjoys their work? And 3, is it sustainable, right? So if you're an employee, are you on promotion track? And then if you are an entrepreneur or freelancer, do you have a pipeline, right? If you answer those 3 questions yes, you're good, right? If you answer 2 of those questions yes and 1 no, well, then you've got a problem, because any one of those creates a major situation, right? If you're not on track to meet your financial goals, right, well, then, there's no way out of that box, right? If you're not happy, you're going to burn out and the whole thing's going to fall apart anyway. And if it's not sustainable, well, then obviously, the train's going to come to a stop, and then what do you do, right? If you can only answer yes to 1 of those questions, well, then that's even worse, right? Because, that's something where you're probably not going to last very long in that position. And you've got to do something, because you're either going to burn out, go broke, or, some other form of the sustainability question is going to happen, get fired, run out of clients, whatever, right? Now you have 2 different threats, right? And if you can't answer yes to any of those questions, well, then that's a total catastrophe. I'm not going to mince words here. That is a toxic situation that you need to change right the hell now. Okay, so guys, so I'm going to put up a link on the screen here. So if you answered yes to all 3 of those questions, sweet. Hang out in the group, comment, share with other people. You're awesome. I love you. You live in the good life, and, namaste, all of that. If you did not answer yes to all 3 of those questions, then you and I need to have a chat. Okay, so go to www.oculusinstitute.com/scheduling, right? We'll get clear on what's going on. We'll get clear on where you want to go. We'll get clear on the best next steps to get there. And that way we can get you to a point where you can answer yes to all of those questions, where you're making good money, you're enjoying what you do, and it's sustainable. And then it's just a matter of, your life can spiral upwards from there. Okay, so guys, again, that link is www.oculusinstitute.com/scheduling. And I look forward to speaking with you soon. Have a wonderful day.